As an example, you've got these little problems going on in your life, and that's a little weight, and you're carrying that around, and even on a little 5 kilo plate that everyone can pick up, 30 seconds it gets heavy, and it's hard to hold, and that's our correlation back to mental health, is all these little problems in your life may seem small and you can carry it easy, but over time, that load over time, it gets heavy.
Let's get ready to rumble!
I am the greatest. I have a dream.
Leg, I'm coming for you.
Ha! Got it! Got it!
Is this your shortest fight ever?
I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder and gale.
Okay, welcome to VT Ground Zero podcast. Okay, we're here with episode number 8. If you do get any value out of the show, please like it on your socials, share it, follow, subscribe, whatever else you need to do to get the information out there. So, first of all, in today's show, we have just begun lockdown. Now, businesses are closed, jobs and livelihoods are at risk, which puts a massive strain on a lot of people's everyday lifestyle and also their mental health, which brings us to today's guest. We're lucky enough to have Ben Higgs here, long-term mate of mine and the founder and director of the Rise Foundation. Welcome, Higgsy.
Thank you, Troy. Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, it's been a long time coming, mate, and finally we're going to do some work together, mate. You're doing great things out there.
Thanks, mate. Long time coming, since about 93. We've been waiting for this.
Yeah, 1993. Yeah, old Marsland College days. Mate, the Rise Foundation. We'll get straight into it. What's it all about, and also how did you end up where you are, mate?
Yeah, mate. I was working on the wharves a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we'd lost a couple of guys in the local area to suicide, and me and another old Marsland boy, Spooky Moore, Aaron Moore, decided to put a little event on just to raise some money, and we put a 24-hour treadmill run on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Tough.
It was a big event, and then from doing that, we got thrown into this mental health space purely by accident.
Yeah.
Because the event took off bigger than we ever thought it was going to, and then as we sort of had a look in there, I saw a gap missing in the whole space where everything was focused around awareness around mental health, and we soon realised that awareness is good, but it doesn't really do anything. And so what the gap was missing, it was education. Education on how to look after ourselves, and what this mental health stuff all is. And it hit me in the face sort of pretty hard, because I realised that, I live with a mental illness, and I have since a young bloke. And I was never shown how to look after myself.
Yeah.
And so that's where that's how it came about. And so I went out, did some training, mate. I'm a wharfie by trade. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but went out and got myself trained up and started working with some people that really knew their shit in it. And, mate, it went from there, and I left the wharves for a few different circumstances.
Yep.
But, it wasn't the job that I never wanted.
Yeah.
You find your passion, and you make that your job, and you're never going to work again. So, and it's been true. And so we went out, mate, and just started from there, started from scratch, sort of carved my own niche in what I was doing.
Yep.
And it's been huge since then, mate. It's been unreal. Some of the people I've got to work with, I've travelled overseas doing it. I've worked internationally. I've worked all over the country, and it's all just about educating people on just the everyday practical stuff to look after ourselves and look after each other better.
Yeah, wow. I was a little bit lost. Like I said to you, it's been a long time coming to work with you. I thought you guys would pretty much a charity, until I had a conversation with you recently, because we are going to do some work together. We've got a challenge coming up. But tell us how it works, because it for me, it's a unique concept.
Yep.
Okay. Whatever you raise, you put back in. Which is awesome.
From the start, we're different from a lot of other organisations, where I feel really awkward with people just giving us money. I hate that concept.
Yeah.
We're in this to really help people and to strengthen communities. So the decision we made from the start is that every bit of money that gets put back into the company goes back into communities. So that's why we went not for profit. And so if we're working with a mob like yourselves, what we do, every bit of money that you guys raised doesn't just get donated. You guys then, it gets given to us, and then we put it back into running courses. So we run mental health first aid and mental health response courses.
Yep.
And that way, the more money the community raises, the stronger that community gets.
Yep.
And the money just cycles through, and then it's everybody's helping each other.
So you pretty much, like if we raise 10 grand, for example, you'll put 10 grand or whatever you do into running workshops for the community that's raised the money.
Yep. So if this place raised 10 grand will get spent on this place.
Yeah.
Whether it's the staff, the members' families, or the local community, or a mix of all of it, that comes back to you guys. You guys can then pick who goes through it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah, mate. And that way, it's a way of, everyone's winning then.
Yeah.
Everyone's in front, and it just strengthens communities, mate. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, when we were we got a challenge called the 6 Again Challenge. Now, the reason we called it 6 Again was because if, like in rugby league,
Yep.
if you get 6 again, you get 6 more chances to do better.
I love it.
So we've named it 6 Again, and we found that aligning with, especially like now during COVID, and all these other things that are going on, people like the suicide rate, they haven't even got I haven't seen statistics over the last year for suicide, but we did find that in 2019 there was over 2,500 deaths from suicide just for males, and over 800 deaths in females just in Australia. Mate, that's fucking massive. Like when me and the staff were sitting there looking at these stats to figure out, are we going down a charity that we have done in the past where we align with kids and kids hospitals, which I fucking love.
Yep, 100%.
But when it was a no-brainer, when we looked up the stats for suicide, mate, it was like, okay, you know what, this needs as much help as it can, and if we can put it back into our community, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on average, it's 9 Australians every day die by suicide.
Wow.
So 1 Australian every 3 hours. At least 7 of those people will be men.
Wow.
So at least 7 of the 9 each day will be men, 2 will be women. But in saying that, more women will attempt to take their life, but more men do die by suicide.
Yeah.
The stats haven't come out yet, but I do know I work closely with one of the girls from Lifeline, and in the last lockdown, after 3 weeks, calls had gone up 30% to Lifeline.
Recently?
No. So that's the lockdown last year.
Fuck me, Dad.
Yeah, up 30%.
So, mate, I shouldn't laugh. No, I'm laughing because I swore.
But it's almost laughable,
that's
just how bad it is, because people are losing everything and people are unsure.
Yeah.
People are getting stuck inside with people they don't know. People are losing their jobs, unsure if they're losing their house.
Yeah.
What worries me about this one, if it goes longer, is there's no more JobKeeper.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Mate, it's going to smash the gym. And you know what? Luckily, we're in a pretty good position. We've got an awesome community that's keeping their memberships on. Yeah, it's a reduced rate, but we'll just be scraping through, just trying to keep it afloat, to keep the staff out of the Centrelink lines, Yep. But you can only imagine, like, for example, I've got a sister, 2 of my sisters own a real estate agency. Mate, their business was like a $5 million turnover a year business.
Yep.
It's gone to shit. So, like, they're still okay, but you can imagine what other people are going through. They've got big families and mouths to feed, and yeah, it's fucking scary, mate.
Yeah, it's hard, mate. Last year I had everything. I had about 8 months solid worth of work cancel in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And then I was at that stage. I was not the sole earner, but my wife was working for Rise as well. So we had everything just dry up.
Shout out to Alicia.
Yeah, shout out. Well done. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes, mate. I ended up back bricklaying. I was working as a brickies labourer for a while, which shout out to all the brickies labourers out there. It's it's a shitter of a job, mate. But you got to do that sometimes, So who knows what's going to happen now? But we can just hold on and hope for the best.
definitely, mate. You told me earlier that you've come back now. What you've got is with the Rise Foundation, you've got a CEC accredited course.
Yep.
Okay, and you've come back to align with the fitness industry. How important would you say is like training and nutrition for your mental health?
For me personally, I think it's one of the top two.
Yeah.
You can rattle off all the science behind it, but for me, I look at it, you just feel good about yourself that you've actually gone and done something.
100%.
The aesthetics follow, they'll come through from consistency.
But it's second.
Yeah.
Way second.
That's it. But, mate, for me, it's just going out and doing something. Your body feels good after it. Your head feels even better. You get a bit of sense of pride, and that ego starts to come back, that self-esteem comes back from it. Especially if you're in a gym setting or in a group training, because then you're around people as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're never dirty on yourself for doing it. You're always happy. And the other side is if you don't go, you get even worse on yourself.
Yeah.
You get harder. So for me, it's top two for sure, mate. And that's why, when things, you sort of work out your niche where you sit in different settings, mate. And I was working in all different places, which I love. We run these courses in boardrooms, people in suits, schools, police officers, sporting clubs, community groups, everyone. But for me, I love the gym setting because people are in here trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do. They're here to try and make themselves better,
100%.
and trying to improve themselves. And so what we also found is that PTs become an accidental counsellor.
Oh, definitely, mate. I'm a psychologist every single day.
'Cause I work closely with Robbie and Aaron, are both trainers.
Yep.
And speaking with them, and from personal experience, is that, you come here, anyone can walk in and start lifting weights, but it could be dangerous where you speak to a trainer because they've got a bit of knowledge behind them, they've got a background, they can just give you a few little extra tips. But you're putting your life in their hands, so to speak,
Definitely, 100%.
You're trusting them. And so very often it's you're coming in here and you're just spilling out everything that's happening and you're dumping it on the PT, and PTs aren't trained for it.
Yep.
Especially younger PTs, I find you're a bit different, mate. You've been around the block, you've got some years under the belt, you've got a bit of experience there, you can talk on that. Younger PTs can't because they haven't got that, just purely because of age and experience. And so we wanted to make sure, it was a big chunk they're missing, and we're so big on people looking after themselves physically and going and training and everything, that the people that are looking after them there, we wanted to make sure that they were comfortable in it as well, for themselves and for the client.
Yeah.
Food for Fitness are developed to inspire health and fitness. Designed and prepared by professional chefs, Food for Fitness makes healthy food effortless and satisfying. We offer top quality, sustainable nutritional food with premium proteins, lower GI carbohydrates, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. Choose from a range from our bulk packs, signature meals, and customized meal plans.
So lockdown last year, we had plenty of time on our hands. So our mental health response course, which is it's a newish sort of course, it's only about 2 or so years old. We got that accredited with Fitness Australia, so trainers can get their CEC points. It was just as a bit more of an enticement for trainers to take the time to do this course. You've got to get your points each year, so why not do one that's worthwhile?
Yeah, what's the difference between the mental health response and the first aid, mate?
Mate, pretty much time. So mental health first aid's a 2-day course.
Yeah.
It is a great course. It's an amazing course. It's your St John's first aid equivalent.
For mental health.
For mental health, yeah. But what we found, I've been running that course for 4 or 5 years, and it's very hard to get people for 2 days.
Yeah.
For people to take 2 days out of their schedule, and it's also even harder for businesses to give me people for 2 days while they're paying them.
Yeah.
So with a woman, one of my favourite people in the world, Debbie Swibble, she wrote this course. It's an amazing course. It's the same content as the first aid. It's just stripped down. All the fluff and filler taken out, and we hit people, so it's only 4 hours, and we just smash people with exactly what they need to know in it. But it's the great part about it is we can put it in our terms. So if I'm in a boardroom, I'm going to present it different than if I'm in a gym.
Yeah.
And in the gym, I love it even better because we actually use the weights. We actually get people up and start getting them holding weights and stuff as an example. You've got these little problems going on in your life. And that's a little weight, and you're carrying that around, and even on a little 5 kilo plate that everyone can pick up,
It's heavy.
30 seconds it gets heavy, you know, and it's hard to hold it. And that's our correlation back to mental health, is all these little problems in your life may seem small and you can carry it easy, but over time, you know, that load over time, it gets heavy.
Yeah, I fucking love it, Benny.
Yeah.
How good's that?
Yeah, mate, because what's the point of having this stuff and talking about it if it's not in terms that people can understand?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so we put it back into simple term. Mate, you know me, I'm a simple bloke. I'm a wharfie by trade. It doesn't have to be complicated. And I think that's the beauty of how we do it, is that, you know, we're not coming from the standing point of a psychologist or anything like that.
It's coming from experience.
It's coming from experience, mate. I've got a lived experience in mental illness. I've been around the block. I've lived a life, you know, and, you know, we can relate it back to people. And that's what it needs to be done, because anyone can get online and research this stuff.
Yeah.
But being able to actually understand it in ways that you understand and ways that you can then go out and talk to other people about it, it means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, and like, I've been around mental illness for about 12 years now. I never really understood it before. You know, I've definitely changed the way that I look at mental health after going through a nasty divorce. I wouldn't say nasty divorce, I'd just say an emotional divorce.
Is there a good one?
Possibly, if you both want it.
None that I've heard about.
Yeah, I've never heard about it, but you know, I'm not going to speculate and say there's not. But being around that, like, I've found that taking drugs, you know, has an effect to it, and it seems that there's this epidemic of cocaine use at the moment. You know, it's like having a fucking beer at the moment. Just everyone has a beer or have a line. It goes hand in hand. Have you seen like a little spike with that happening at the moment, or is there anything that kind of directly or is more prevalent, like athletes finishing their sport, you know, and have nothing to look forward towards, or is there like drug induced mental health, suicide? Which is I'd say the majority case.
Mate, I don't know the stats on it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's people's lives. You know, we've never
regardless.
We've never been taught this stuff, and everyone's got their crutch. Everyone's got their bad habit they fall back on, their coping strategy.
Yeah.
You know, but the coping strategy often becomes a bad habit. You know, the drink for me was always the big one. You know, you drink because you've had a bad day or a good day, you want to celebrate, or you want to wash it away, and sooner or later it starts to slide out of control.
Yeah.
And it plays tricks on us, you know. It makes us think differently, and it changes our way of thinking. It changes our perception of ourselves and our problems. Could make people use eating, people use sex, people use shopping, people use social media. You know, whatever it is, people find their crutch, and it consumes them sometime. And, you know, I think, you know, especially the drug use in younger kids when the brains aren't fully developed hurts. And the drugs are different, I think, these days. A lot more synthetic drugs, and the prescription drugs and everything are really taking a big hold. Social media is playing a big part in people's lives. You know, people like to pinpoint it on one thing. I think it's a mix of all of it. You know, we're placed under a lot of pressures. All these extra pressures being placed on people, especially COVID. You know, I look at it in a certain way in that, you know, a kid goes to school with diabetes or asthma or any physical illness, and they're taught how to look after it.
Yep.
But for mental illnesses, people aren't. You know, but I'm an example of that. I've had type 2 bipolar for as long as I can remember, but I was never taught about it. I was never spoken about. I hid it from everyone. You know, even blokes like yourself that I was known for all this for so long.
30 odd years.
Yeah. You know, most people.
I don't even feel 30.
Oh no, I do when I wake up. But most people wouldn't know that that's what I was living with, and that's what I was going through. You know.
Yeah.
Because you know, that the culture that we have is that you just toughen up and you put that face on that you want people to see, and you just push through it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes hard. So then you fall back on these bad habits to try and make yourself feel better.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know, the more we understand it, you know, COVID's done one good thing, and it's pushed it into people's faces that this is something we need to take seriously now.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't hide behind anything anymore, because those stats put it in front of everyone's face that,
Yeah.
You know, things are getting out of control and they're getting worse. The suicide rates are going up. The rates of mental illness are going up, and our lifestyles need to change to accommodate for it.
Yeah, for sure, mate. If you only have to look at, we had like 148 or 150 boys in our year at school.
Yep.
And I think there's 2 or 3 of them, you know, have passed away by suicide. So
Yeah.
like that's, you know, that's a pretty alarming stat just in its own.
Yep.
Mate.
And I know more than a handful of blokes who shouldn't be here, myself included, that did try to take their life, but luckily they are still here, so those numbers could be even more, and that's just from one group of blokes from one school.
Yeah, and that's you know, obviously, mate, your legacy's here, mate, and you're meant to be here, bro, because you're fucking doing a great job helping a lot of people,
Mate,
and it's awesome, man.
you're doing all right yourself.
Mate, only doing my best. That's all I can do, man. You know. You mentioned before that you guys did a 24-hour treadmill run.
Yep.
How was that?
That was one of the easiest things, mate. That was, we were a lot younger back then. That was 10 years ago that we started doing that. You know, it's hard to look back on it. You know, that event, it was two treadmills at Maroubra Beach.
I remember.
Yep, that exploded. It went from 2 treadmills to 7 treadmills to we ended up taking over the whole of Randwick Racecourse. And then that event actually became the largest event in the world for mental health awareness and suicide prevention.
Wow.
The last year it was run.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. But, you know, there was a lot of casualties out of it. I almost lost a marriage out of it through a few different things, but that was a tipping point. One of the other boys ended up in rehab. Not to say that the event was the main catalyst for it, but it was a big part.
Contribution. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it was from the outside looking in, it was this great thing, but it did have a few casualties.
Yeah.
But in the end, you know, everyone's all right. He's out now. He's clean. He's doing better than most people. He's doing great things. You know, but that event was unreal. It really brought communities together, and I think it set the benchmark a lot. I think it changed the way a lot of fundraising was done in this country. You see a lot of 24-hour events now. We were one of the first. So a little wrap for us, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that was all right, mate, because we ran in a relay. So you're doing like a half-hour run every 2.5 hours.
Okay, so it was both like group of 5 or something.
Yeah. So
That's
it wasn't
good,
too,
mate.
mate.
That's awesome.
And another old mate of ours, Hendo, he was in there.
Yeah. Shout out to Hendo. It was supposed to be his birthday on the weekend.
It was yesterday. Yesterday was his actual birthday, but he's
supposed to go to the races and got brushed.
Yeah, so I'm
Probably good for
probably good for everyone's health, physical and mental, that they
would
did
have
it.
been a little bit foggy this weekend. This week.
One of your illustrious members here, Nat Serta, she was part of the original group.
Yeah, gun.
Yeah, but mate, that was one of the easy ones. You know, we've done some big events over the years. We walked from Gold Coast to Sydney a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So 60 k's a day for 15 days we walked.
You would have had some blisters there, mate.
Yes, that was heavy going. Sleeping in swags on the side of the road at night and stuff.
Yeah.
We just did a 24-hour walk a couple months back. That was probably the hardest. 24 hours non-stop. Around Sydney, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty tough. That was brutal.
Yeah, it would have been tough going through like Mount Druitt or something. You know, you would have had your mouth guard.
Mate, no, it wasn't that tough. I wasn't going out there. No, we started.
You would have fit in with all the tattoos.
I needed a rat's tail. No, we started at Botany, walked down to Maroubra Beach, all the way up through to Bondi, then over to the harbour, over to the North Shore, back around. Came up through Mardi Gras, which was interesting.
Yeah, nice.
Back down to Maroubra Beach, and then laps of Maroubra Beach. So
awesome.
It was good, yeah.
How good's that?
Yeah, we've done some. Been very fortunate that I think because you know I'm my own boss, so I get an idea. I want to do something, I can just go and do it. You know,
perfect.
So we're lucky like that. There's no one stopping us from doing whatever we want to do. I was working for Suicide Prevention Australia for a little bit, but they're a government body, and I just hated that you had to put a form in and get permission for everything, and it's never been how I've wanted to do it. So and you know, now we're just lucky. We get an idea, we go, sweet. We've been toying with the idea of doing a motorbike tour lately. Just why not?
Not bad.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
Any Harley dealerships want to?
Any Geminis? Can we bring my Gemini or my WRX or something?
Bring whatever you want, mate. But yeah, no, it's good, mate. Like yourselves, you want to do something here, you do it.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, I've got some awesome staff here that, have got my support, and I know they've got my back and I've got theirs,
Yep.
mate. So in saying that, the reason that I did ask about the 24-hour run is because in, I think, week 4 of the 6 Again Challenge, we're going to do a 24-hour row. Now, you said you've already done 24 hours. You were the first of. Maybe we make it a 36 one. 36.
Yeah, I've never done 24 hours on a rower, though.
Yeah, no, we're going 24-hour on a rower. We're not sure how we're going to structure it, whether we're doing teams or whatever, but we are going to try and raise as much money for the Rise Foundation to put back into our community as possible. So everyone
awesome.
just keep an eye on the socials. If you do want to be part of the 6 Again Challenge, there'll be some info coming your way as soon as this fucking lockdown ends, and we can get a little bit of normality about our...
I'll come and watch, but I don't know if I'll be getting on the roller for 24.
Mate, no, you don't have to go for 24, mate. We want to make sure that we're looking after ourselves, so we'll get the young blokes on there.
Yeah, good call.
Higgsy, before we go, mate,
Yep.
do you want to just, if people can't come and be part of the challenge, or they're not part of our community and they're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or listening on Spotify, where can they find your services, and what can they do, mate? Can you point them in the right directions, your socials and that?
Yeah, mate. TheRiseFoundation.net's our website. Everything that we do is on there with a full list of all the different courses and workshops and stuff like that. Rise Foundation Aust, AUST, I think, on Instagram. Rise Foundation Australia on Facebook, all that, all the normal stuff.
Yep.
Reach out to us. What we did, we know people, it's hard for us to get around everywhere, and people can't always get to where we're doing stuff. We do everything over Zoom. The response course can be done fully online now, so you can just do it at your own pace on your own computer.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
We want to make sure that this is accessible to everyone. I love being able to go into schools. That's probably my favourite thing to do. We've got a really awesome school program that we're trying to get out there, but it's hard, for me to roll up to a school and knock on the door, say, let me in to talk to the kids. But not the best look. So we rely on parents to rally the school.
In saying that, it's anyone with a little bit of, common sense, to be honest. I would rather you come and say, mate, I want to talk about suicide prevention and ways to manage it, than some bloke in a fucking suit that has no idea about, life. And I'm not saying anything about people with suits.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, just with some real life experience, I think it talks miles, mate.
Yeah, and that's, I saw that firsthand when I was out on the walls. They'd have people come in and talk, and I remember they had someone from Beyond Blue once, and God love them, they were doing a good job. They were doing a great job, but you have someone in a suit come in and talk to 200 wharfies, it's not going to work.
No.
People are on their phone straight away, people getting up and leaving, so you got to make sure that you're able to connect with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we rely on a lot of the parents to rally the schools to get behind it, and then the schools are forced to do it. But we go out to businesses, community groups, gyms like this, mate. We're there for everyone, and we try and make it work as much as possible. We throw community courses on here and there. If we've got a gap in our schedule, that we'll just put a course on that anyone from the area can come, or if people want to book it in, But mate, we do what we can. We're out there trying our best, just like yourself, mate. Just, we're not in this game to become rich and famous. We're here to try and help people.
Yeah.
Try and help them help themselves, and to make us try and get ourselves in a better place ourselves, mate. So
you're a good man, Higgsy.
Mate. You do all right yourself. I've learnt from some of the best, mate.
Yeah.
We've got a good bunch of mates, and that's 100%. We're lucky. We're lucky because we've got a really good support around us in our mates. Shout out to all the boys.
Yep. In the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd.
Let's try and keep it clean from now on, lads.
Yeah, good luck. But that's so important to have that, because you'd know it. Any one of us put a message on there. We saw it with one of the boys not long ago that was living up in Queensland. And the next thing you know, there's 50, 60 messages there and phone calls getting made and everyone rallying together, mate. And it's such a big part of this, that
having that support
there, and knowing that there's people around you that you can go to, and then that will help you out whenever you need it.
Legend. All right, so we'll leave it there, Higgsy.
Cheers, brother.
Mate, it's been a pleasure having you on. Once again, guys, if you have found the value in it, like it, share it, subscribe, follow, do what you need to do. Let's get the message out. Let's get some support around Higgsy. And if you are interested in jumping into the 6 Again Challenge, once again, keep an eye on our socials. or get in touch with us and we'll give you more information.
Awesome.
Peace.
Cheers, guys.
I am the greatest.
Begin.
I have a dream.